So there was this professor I kind of really looked up to.
Oh.
So he's probably the kind of professor I would aspire to be if I was. So he's really young and really, really accomplished for his age, but he's also extremely humble. And it is, yeah. But I've always really admired him ever since I think we met him the first time. And I sort of, so I listened to this interview he did about his past. And it turns out when he was younger, because he's extremely successful, he's probably like mid-30s, but he's already like the top of his field, essentially. Yeah, and he's won so many awards. He recently won something that my boss also got, but she's in her 50s.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's super, super accomplished. But I was listening to his interview, and he said when he was younger, he was a super high achiever, but the pressure got to him, and he started taking a lot of drugs. And then he actually ended up in an emergency room in hospital. And then it wasn't to sort of reevaluate his life. And then that's why he ended up where he is now. So doing research for, I guess, the disability field. And he's just really a really cool guy and really sweet and nice and humble. And I think it's because of his past that, you know, he can appreciate what he has now. And he's just very down to earth about everything as well. And he does these little 30 seconds of science things for his institute. And it just kind of explains, because I guess this area, it's not a lot of people know about it, but people want to know more. And there's a lot of confusing research out there, so it kind of breaks it down and talks about all the new research that's coming out. And it's just really cool. Like, there's someone I think is someone I would aspire to be if I was going to stay in academia. Do you guys have someone similar like that? Like a role model almost?
There is someone I admire. He was a postdoc during PhDs. I think, like, he's not like a professor or anything, but I think it was just the really strong work ethic, but also being really generous with his time. And he's really accomplished because he works so hard, but at the same time, he's also just easy to get along with. And like, he's the type of person that everyone wants to work with because it's just so easy to work with. And all my, like, the professors and stuff would always seek him out, and you know, they respect him.
Do you think that with that you can actually like try to work with him? Like when you apply things, you'll be thinking about that person who's talking about collaboration, and we'll try to bring the person onto your project and hope.
I have written a paper with him, which was nice. But after that, I mean, obviously, because he's still in the field that I did for my PhD, and I've moved on from that. So if there was any, you know, opportunity in the future, I would definitely suggest him.
Yeah.
I just don't think there'll be much opportunity.
With me, I think with my current department head, I really like him because he's so known. I think we share the same theme across three of us, is that they're all very humble. Because I think that he really cares about everyone that he works with. And then he never, with that collaboration research project, we have from the Melbourne University, there's another professor. And when we meet up, and he keeps saying that, oh, the government should be so grateful that we have all these big knowledge brain trusts that they can use. And just always position himself higher than anyone else.
Right.
Whereas I think that my department head do think that he serves the people. So that in terms of community workers and everyone else, you do see him treating everyone the same.
Yeah.
Whereas I can tell that the Melbourne professor, he's not treating everyone the same. Like research assistant, PhD, he talks to them differently. And he doesn't really respect that people with lived experience on the team.
What a dickhead.
Yeah. So I do appreciate that when they say they're preaching the things that they're preaching, but they also reflect that they are that kind of person.
Yeah.
I had that once when I was working on a project with a big institution, but the person I was working with, she just treated anyone who was below a professor really poorly. She spoke to them in a way that was very, what I thought was quite disrespectful. And because I was in that position and I was working with her, and the way she spoke to me, I think later on I worked with her a bit more, and then she came to see that I'm not
Useless.
yeah, so then she spoke to me with more respect. But yeah, I've seen that before where they just speak to you differently. And I feel like, I think if the people who speak to everyone the same are the people that I really admire. Because that's the way it should be, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.